So what we've got here is we did our design document, we came up with a summary and what was happening, and the next thing that we're going to be doing, and we came up with our class diagrams. Now it's a matter of actually putting this into code. So the first thing we're going to do is just physically recode these, and this is the easy part, just physically recode the player and recode the team. So I'm going to go into my my NetBeans, and I'm going to go to Java application. Be sure here you choose the location where you want to put it. So in my case, I'm wanting it inside, it's quite a long pass, so let me pause this video while I'm doing it. So I've chosen the location, my Dropbox folder OOP00. You guys can choose whichever location. You would call it your project name. In my case, mine's a volleyball manager, or tournament manager anyway, for volleyball. And I would not create a main class. You do not need to create a main class. When you click finish, it will create the project, and then it will be blank. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to add a new Java class. Okay, so I've got the volleyball manager class here, and I'm going to go right click new Java class, and the first class we're going to create is our player class. One thing that I did do badly there, let me delete that because I did it wrong, paid me for doing it wrong on the video, but when you create a new class, new Java class, you must choose a package. And what I suggest you do is just to distinguish between working classes and user interface classes. I'm going to call this working, this package, and then when I create the user interface, I'll call that one user interface, just so we can get track of the difference there and start by understanding that they're separate items. Now, in your player class, we're going to create, so like you would in a test, you would answer these questions. Let me tell this class. Alright, so then now we're going to create these classes. So the first one is player, which has player name, date of birth, and gender. So we would go string player name, semicolon, string dob, comma, int gender. I would also just make a note there, 0 is female, 1 is male, just so we can understand that there's a difference. // makes comments. So I just put a comment there just to help out a bit. I could have done the same here. I actually didn't finish this because I haven't got that there. Anyway. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our constructors. So I said I was going to create a default constructor which would contain nothing, and then you would initialize them to be the default values. Same thing with the date of birth, that should be an equals, not a plus, and then the same thing with gender. So defaultly people are female. The next question that we've got there is we've got our single parameterized constructor, and we're going to do there is we're going to also initialize whichever fields aren't receiving through the parameter will be initialized as a default. And then we would have our fully parameterized constructor. So we're literally just creating the methods that we said we would. We also said we would create all setters and getters. Remember the shortcut is Alt Insert. You then go getters and setters. You tick all of them, done. So literally I created getters and setters for every single individual one out there. So basically I went Alt Insert, I said getters and setters, and then I chose all of them. It won't be available now because all of them are created, so they won't be available in the list yet. The next thing you're going to create is going to create the toString. And one thing you'll notice in the mark sheet of the toString is you'll see, let me open up the mark sheet again, just give me 2 seconds. Well, yeah. So you'll see there that there's a lot of marks, or there's marks allocated. When I talk about the class, I talk about the toString being worth marks. So the class base, what I've just done now for the player, will be worth 6 marks, but the toString alone will be worth 6 marks between the two. And the reason why is you need to format it in such a way that it's going to be presented nicely. So when I create the toString, this is the default toString, but I'm expecting you guys to modify it so it would look decent. So I'd say player name, born on the date. Now, then I'll just say the gender. So you would format it in such a way that it would look a bit more presentable. Technically, it might not look that presentable because gender will be 0, 1, but that's fine. Okay, and I'm good with that. So we've formatted the toString to present it in such a way. So I've done my toString class, and this is my player class done. The next class I need to create is my my team class. So I go team, I go and finish. Now in my team class, same things is going to happen. You don't have to delete these. I just like deleting the actual things. Make sure your comments are all together. Then it's going to have team name, player 1, player 2, player 3. So private, because that's a negative sign in front of it, string player name, sorry, team name, semicolon, private player P1, I want to do this in a different way because I'm a little bit lazy, but P2, P3, if they're the same data type or same class type, you can initialize them all in the same row. Now this is giving me a red underline. Variable P3 is already defined. Oh, my bad, P4. Okay, so you can separate them comma if they are the same data type or class type. Now we're going to create our default constructor. In our default constructor, we would then initialize the rest to be blank. So I'm going to make my team name equal to blank, my P1 equal to new player. I'm going to use the blank constructor. P2 is equal to new player, and I'm going to use my blank constructor. So remember, the constructors for a class, you initialize it with your constructors. In this case, if it's default, we are initializing with our default constructor. New player, and then we will construct that, and then P4 is equal to new player, and then we will construct our player 4. Now that we've done that, we will create our parameterized constructor, which is only one constructor in it. We will then initialize our rest to be blank, so I needn't reinvent the wheel, copy, paste, and then fully parameterized constructor would receive for every item. Spacebar is the key to tick those. Done. Now I'll create all my setters and getters. That's very easy. Choose my setters and getters, spacebar selects all of them, generate, done. Setters and getters done. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to create my toString. I'll insert toString, and then I'm going to format it in such a way that I would like it. So in this case, I'll show P1, and then I would say \n players \n. I have no idea what that would look like, but I could check that later. And then here \n, so note each player will be on a new line inside that team. So I've chosen a decent way to display the information. Okay, done. Those are my classes created. Now if we look at our mark sheet here, or our question paper, we've now got 12 of the marks down because we've got the code. But now we've got the GUI. So our entity classes are done, but now we've got our GUI, and our GUI is worth in total 13 marks. And the first one is design of the GUI, and the second one is working code, the fact that it all works, etc. Now, if we look at our criteria, our GUI, upon running, at least 8 objects need to be created, i.e., for the volleyball example, I would create 2 teams because there are 4 players in each team, and that would be in total 8 objects. So, you would need to work out in your scenario what would initialize 8 objects. In my scenario, it will be 2 teams. If we look at the player scenario, which is in the OOP notes, so we designed a simpler version of it. Each log would have a book and whatever. So I'd actually create 3 people, 3 books, and then I'll create 2 logs. And 2 logs would then create instance in there, whatever it might be. You would create, so at least when running it, it would have those instances. So I'm going to now create my user interface. When I create my user interface, I go new, right click on there, new, and I choose a Java JFrame form. Now you choose the package. In this case, I'm going to call it my user interface package, and I'm going to call my main GUI because I'm very inventive like that. And now we're going to have to come up with a design. I know I've got 2 players, and each player has got information there. Now all I am expecting from you guys is literally just to display the results in a nice, pretty way. I don't care much else. So what I'm going to do is, in my case, the best layout for my main base frame will be a grid layout. And the reason why is I want to split it in half, have team A on the left, team B on the right. And now for future development's sake, I'm going to allow a bit of space at the bottom of each of them. So in my grid layout, I'm going to set 2 columns by 1 row. I am then going to now what we're going to do is we're going to I've set the layout grid layout, and I set it to be 2 columns by 1 wide. I'm going to make, I would like you to design it a little bit so it could potentially be used further in the future as well. So I'm going to add 2 panels, drag them together in the same frame. So now I've got 2 panels in the same frame, and each of these I'm going to set the layout here to be border layout, because remember border's got north, east, south, west, and the same thing with this one. I'm going to set it to be border layout. In the border layout area, and now here's where I could actually modify it a little bit. I'm going to modify my code a little bit to suit my GUI, and I'll explain to you just now. I'm going to actually have a label at the bottom, so I'm going to put a label right at the bottom here, and and that's going to be the label with the team name on, and I'll explain why now. And then here, label, that's going to be labeled with what team name. I'm then going to add a text area, and my text area here, and my text area there. Now right now this looks relatively ugly, so I'm going to do a little couple of things to try and make it better. One, I'm going to make there be a horizontal gap of 20, so at least it's a bit separate, and a vertical gap of 10. The next thing I'm going to do is for my labels, I am going to make them be a larger size. So literally you just go through the properties here. I'm going to make it size 18. I'm going to make them center aligned. So horizontal alignment, center. Same thing with this one, font size 18, and I'm going to make it center aligned. So done. Now what you do need to do is you need to name your components. So I'm going to go to my panel 1. I'm going to change the variable name. I'm going to call it pan left. I'm going to go to my label 2, change variable name, pan right. Technically, I'll never be referring to these, so you don't have to name things you're not going to refer to, but I am going to be referring to this and I am going to be referring to this. So I'm going to change this variable name to LBL team 1. I'm going to change this variable name to LBL team 2. I'm going to call this now, change variable name txt team 1, change variable name txt team 2. What's the name of this pan team 1, pan team 2? Okay, so we've got that sorted so far. This is my GUI designed. It's very simple. I don't expect anything drastic. I can increase this a little bit because I think it looks a little ugly, so that I can make the vertical gap, so it will make the distance between the label and the thing a little bit, so there's a gap between them. And it now looks presentable. Also, what you can do is in the JFrame, if you give it a title, I can give this the name of volleyball tournament. It means when you run it, it will make that the title of the frame. So if I ran the program, it would come up with this over here. Obviously, you want to put the team list in here. So now, because I've changed my GUI design, I want the title to be here. My toString in my team no longer needs to display the team name. So all I actually really want is I want the players in there. So I'm going to delete this in here because it makes more sense in my scenario not to have that in the toString, just to have the player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. And I'll show you what I mean now. Now in my GUI, this is where the parts come in for a lot of marks. In my GUI components, you are going to create instances of your classes. Now for my team, because each team has 4 players, I actually only need 2 fields. Team 1 and I need team 2. Now what you might need to do is you might need to use press Control Spacebar so that it will import team on there so it knows it can use it because it's in different packages. Again, you would make this grade 10s and grade 12. So we've got team 1 and team 2. But now this is where the part becomes a little bit tricky, is each team has different players in it. So we're now in our constructor, which in this case is our public GUI. This is our constructor for this class, because remember, your frame runs and it creates an instance of its own frame, and then here it will create instances of team 1 and team 2. We are now going to say, we are first actually going to create our players. So P1, T1, meaning player 1 from team 1 is equal to new player, and I'm going to create using my fully parameterized constructor. My first player is going to be, let's name people from our class. Let's go Dylan White, because he does play volleyball. I'm going to name real volleyball players play volleyball in these teams. And he was born in 1994. I have no idea what the age of people are nowadays. And the gender is 1, he's male. Then we're going to do player 2, so basically I'm going to do the exact same thing as that. I'm going to create multiple instances, so I'm going to create 4 instances of it. Let me zoom in so you can see it a bit better. So you'll see I'll create an instance for player 1, team 1. I'm just going to copy and paste this. I'm going to create initialized 4 players, so I've got 4 player objects, and then now on those 4 player objects I'm then now going to initialize a team. So team 1 is equal to a new team, and I'm going to use the fully parameterized constructor. The team name is going to be Head Banging Metalheads, which is actually a team name. Now, a team that took place in the tournament. So now, you'll see there that I've created the 4 instances, temporary ones, because they're only available inside this method. I initialized it to team 1. I then go and I'm now going to do the exact same thing for team 2. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got the player we're now making for team 2. So now that I've initialized the objects, all I need to do is actually make my text display. So I'll just go lbl team1.setText to team1.getText. Sorry, get team name, semicolon. lbl team2 to be dot set text to team2 dot get team name. Same thing with now the txt team1 will dot set text to team1 dot toString, which would then return the team name txt team2 dot set text to team2 dot toString. And then now what you'll notice is when I run this program, I press play, ask you what you want your main class to be, so it'll only probably give you one option, or your GUI, you need to make sure your main class. And you'll notice now that if I open up mine, there it is. It's not the prettiest in the world, but it's not bad. So in other words, I've got there the list of the players, I've got the title of each of them. Oh, both of them say headbanging metalheads. And I think the reason why is I didn't change the name of the second team. So my second team name, I should actually change the people in the second team. Okay, let me give new information for the second team. You'll notice there that I've got the players have changed the instances now, so it would be different. And then now when I run it, it will look better. In this situation, I don't know if I'm happy with the way this looks. So I want to change a couple of things. The first thing I want to change is how big it is when it starts up. So I want it to start up this big, so I need to make the minimum size better. The second thing I want to do is I don't think that the way I've presented the people is very good, because the people are just all like bam and one, and it doesn't look so pretty. And potentially if I would want to make it even a bigger screen, I could allow for more space there, so I could allow it to be a bit better. So I'm going to do that. So the first step I want to do is in my GUI is I'm going to set the minimum size of my frame. So I go to my J frame, and I go down to where it says minimum size. I'm then going to set the minimum width to be 600 for argument's sake, and I think this is hard. I'm going to set this to 700. Now if I press this button, it should show me the size. I'm happy with that. I don't actually need it to be that wide. This would display the different players, etc. So that's step one, is you can change the minimum size of it. That's what you can do. The next thing I can do is I can mess with how my player returns this. So I'm going to have player name. I'm then going to go and I'm going to say, I'm just going to have a \n dob space. First thing I'm going to add on to the beginning is actually a dash, because I would like to put a dash there, just because I think it would look pretty. You guys can mess around with how you want yours to look. \n date of birth, full colon space, and then gender. And then I'm just put a dash space gender, full colon space, and then the gender. And if it's got a read line like that, it probably means that I'm missing a plus somewhere or something. Yes, I'm missing a plus over here. So I have independent that's there. So that should make it look prettier. So two simple things hopefully will make this project look a lot better. And if I now look at what it looks like, that does look much better. Although potentially I would want maybe 2 enters in between them, and in which case if I can fix that on the team side, I could put a \n here, so that there will be a line in between it. So enter, enter, because this is where I separate the different teams. Okay, so if I now run this again, voila, that looks much better. It's presentable. This project here is 100%. So it's a short project. I've done it in probably an hour in total. So I finished this not long after your guys' lesson. So yeah. Oh yeah. Bye.